So I know you've explained before a little bit about the beginnings of EN computers. Can you tell us a little about that and maybe even why you started EN computers?
Well, to date myself a little bit, I started in the 1990s. um, and I really started out of a passion of working with technology and seeing it solve problems. Um, I started the business while I was in high school, so the problems we were solving were different. But while I was in high school, I was supporting a veterinary office, a large retail store, 3 real estate office branches, and what I enjoyed doing was seeing systems come to life, like the multiple listing service for the realtors, and that was a really new system to be computerized. They had just gone from printed books to electronic system, and seeing how much that changed everybody's workflows, and how much more current the information was, even though it was coming down over dial-up modem at the time, than circulating a giant printed book that was this big every month of all the current listings. So we're still dealing with the same sort of challenges today. Whether we do tedious data entry processes, take an email, take an Excel document attachment, enter it in, versus having some sort of automation. Luckily, most of the time we're not dealing with giant printed books anymore, but uh, but yeah, that's how I got started.
Nice. Also, people may want to know about the name EN Computers. How did you come up with that?
My first try at naming the business was MacRae Computer Consultation, and it just rolls right off the tongue, right? So, um, so I tried to simplify it down to Ian Computers, maybe so I could just answer the phone, "Hello, Ian." So, so yeah, it's a play on my name. But over the years, I've just called it kind of like Enhanced Networks, but at the same time, it's a play on my name. So.
Sure. I also appreciate a simple name that I can use when I answer the phone. EN Computers. So one question, what's different about the strategic approach that you take versus the way everyone else in this industry for IT does things?
Yeah, we're really focused on our clients, and the majority of our clients come to us looking for a turnkey IT department. They either don't have any IT personnel on staff, or they might have one IT person on staff, or they might be looking to eliminate IT positions, due to business and changes. So they really need somebody that's going to offer a turnkey solution. So I think that really drives how we think about our service offering. Um, we work to design our service offering uh, to to advise business leaders, versus to advise IT professionals. Um, and if we are working with an IT professional, we work to support them with a framework that makes the conversation with the business leader that they might be liaisoning with internally easier. So we try to just position things from a business conversation standpoint versus a technical one. Um, we also work to take the responsibility of the full IT functions. So there might be peripheral things that are dependent on IT, security cameras, phone systems, compliance with cybersecurity, monitoring of the network security itself. And many of our competitors will draw a boundary on those things, and they'll say, you know, you've got to find somebody else to manage these related fields. It's not our responsibility. But we know that our customers really don't have that extra manpower in-house to take on managing a bunch of different IT related things, and that we have to really offer those solutions for them. So that said, not everybody's ready for somebody to do everything. So we do have some basic plans. Sometimes people just want us to kind of wait in the wings and be, you know, back up until somebody retires or something like that. So we do have that way to kind of ramp up if it's not right for us to be fully responsible.
Nice. So if I was looking for a provider and I heard good things about Ian Computers, but I'm not sure if I want to be a partner for maybe an extended amount of time, that's something that I could possibly start out with a project or something like smaller and then potentially lead to a longer commitment.
Yeah. So at its core, I feel like the relationship really starts when we're able to understand how the client's business is working. And sometimes that can be through a project. Sometimes that can just be through having a limited scope of work, such as looking after helping the organization document their IT. So we could go in with a limited scope of work like that. And then if we have some good documentation in place, if the client ever wanted to expand with us, you know, we would be ready because we're going to need to work as a team and have to rely on documentation. But the client is also getting value right off the bat with you know, seeing some documentation, passwords, you know, how to offboard employees, any of those types of steps that might be critical to their business getting documented.
Great. That's great to know. So when a client is working with you, um, is there any kind of account manager in place that would know my business, or um, is it kind of just everyone's the same kind of client?
Yeah. Um, so a lot of times when people buy services from an IT provider like Ian Computers, um, they think of our service first and foremost as the help desk. You know, I want to call and get somebody on the phone as quickly as possible to resolve an issue. Um, but we find that no matter how good the help desk is, um, you really have to be looking at the patterns about what's happening in the environment. If you keep on having the same issue over and over again, or maybe there's things around performance, you know, things running slow that, you know, are difficult to resolve, that you really need somebody looking over how the IT is working at a different level than just that transactional um, emergency room, you know, closing out the ticket and moving forward. So every client does have relationship resources, and the account manager would be one of those relationships, along with a lead engineer, um, who would be looking over the long-term strategy and the overall health of the client's IT systems, and and thinking about ways to optimize things for the business outcomes that they're seeking.
Mhm. So question about when people do work with you. So of course, I'm on the sales team and I am usually the initial contact for people either calling in or sending in a form. And I've encountered a lot of people who are having trouble having their managed service provider address the issues that they have. They think that that provider is not giving them that attention, and sometimes they can't even get a hold of them. Unfortunately, some have had bad personality conflicts with some of them. Um, but it sounds like a lot of the clients that have worked with Ian Computers speak highly of the experience with the people. What can you share with us about that?
I think it goes back to really understanding that our customers are looking for somebody to be fully responsible for IT. So we have to have the right team and the right structure and personalities to really support that vision. Um, we have to understand that we've got to communicate to people where IT is not their primary job. Um, you know, there are different structures. So occasionally we run into, um, larger IT teams where they have, we ran into a situation where somebody has 80 IT people. Obviously, you're going to talk to that organization very differently than with our customers where there's usually no IT person or maybe one IT person. So we really have to hire so that we can have those good relationships with the end user and make things um, straightforward and understandable so that they get the results that they need. And also build the team where, we have roles like that account manager in place to provide the budgeting and the planning, because there's not a CIO in the organization that's going to be doing the budgeting and the planning. That we really have to come to the table with the CIO role or the compliance officer role, the security officer role for the cybersecurity, because the customer doesn't have it. They're not an 80-person IT team,
Okay, so in some of the meetings you've had with prospective customers, some of them have voiced that they need a particular project done. They believe that there's a need for a specific task to be handled and that they would expect to have to pay for that service. But some of them you've advised that it's actually not something that they need, that they could actually solve that in a different way. So you end up saving them money. Why is that important to you to save a potential client money when it could have been a project that you do and get paid for?
Yeah. Um, I think it's a bigger issue than just the upfront um, savings. I think a lot of us face with our technology today. I know I do in my business, and I can only imagine being an IT professional, how our customers feel about it. There's a lot of complexity in business operations today with technology. And oftentimes, if you're able to save money, you're also able to simplify things, which can really have profound effects for your users trying to work because they might understand the systems better. It can also really improve outcomes when it comes to change management. If things are simpler, you're probably going to be more successful with onboarding and offboarding employees. And then you're probably also going to have better security because you're going to have better change management. There are going to be less holes and gaps in how your security is being um, managed. So that's going to improve your security and improve your compliance position if you need to be compliant, less to manage there. So oftentimes the savings is really the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, we can save you $200 a month on licensing, woohoo. But when you think about all of those other things, it really adds up when you have users showing up to work saying, I can't work for 2 days. Maybe that's only because of a $8 license not being managed correctly. Now, of course, if you have that over 40 bucks for 40 people, yeah, that adds up. But if you can simplify that down and not have those delays and those other things and save the money, it's really powerful. So that's, I think, the reason why I'm mostly a champion for looking at some of these things more holistically.
Mhm. I hear that a lot from our team, taking a holistic approach, being collaborative with the clients. So we get all the information. And it sounds like that's a big piece to, like you're saying, since it's so complex, how can we simplify things and make it easier for them? Great,
Yeah.
great. Another thing is most people I encounter are looking at multiple providers, which is great, I think, because they need to be able to compare, see what really is the best option for them. And a big topic is pricing. So, Ian, in your opinion, when it comes to pricing, how much of that do you think should be a factor when a business is anticipating which provider to go with?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll be honest, I think it should be a big factor. But I think the price and the value, have to go hand in hand. And we try to make the pricing easy, have calculators on the website, be upfront with what things are going to cost. But we also need to listen to our customers. There's times when they have special situations, and we need to offer a custom quote or really hone in on what they're sharing with us. So we do both. Um, but I think at the end of the day, it is about complexity. So, the simpler the customer's needs are, the the straighter the path is for us to manage their environment, and the more straightforward, you know, and potentially less expensive it is on the pricing. So I do think it all goes hand in hand on that complexity thing. But we do try to keep it simple and just show a price per user for people, so that they don't have to let their current MSP know that they're shopping, or talk to their IT department if they are considering an outsource, that they don't have to have a ton of technical detail to get a quote.
And question about the team that you work with. Of course, we know it takes a team to make all of this work. Um, Everyone has different tasks, different things that they do. What can you share about what you appreciate about your entire team, all the people working for you at Ian Computers?
I guess I have a growth-oriented mindset, so I always appreciate when I see the team grow, and something clicks with an employee for the first time, or you see an employee um, really get out there and take a task that was daunting 6 months ago, and they're running through the paces, and managing that task now that they've really taken it on. So it's been a wonderful journey to see that with the team, and to see the, the growth and development. Um, I guess, over the years, been in the industry for 25 or plus years, and um, we have long-term relationships where people stick with us, and we keep clients and employees for 10, 20 years in some cases. But it's also an area where a lot of people are, there's interns. We have interns. We have um, I myself got started while I was in high school, so a lot of times people are just starting out their careers, and I also get a chance to see them go on to be um, working for Homeland Security and overseeing their security, or being the IT lead for a large aviation company. I mean, there's any number of things that people go on if they are just here for a chapter in their life. But I think that it all goes back to seeing people grow and develop, and um, that's always been the excitement about IT, is that it's always new, and you're always challenged to learn, and I'm excited that the team is up for those challenges.
Nice. Nice. And I like that you bring up the intern program. We do have quite a few schools who visit our site, whether that's for just information, or of course, potentially for that program, looking into their career opportunities. And as you mentioned, since you started as an intern, what kind of advice would you share with someone who is looking to get into the industry? What would help them become successful with that?
I think a lot of people, um, I think at the end of the day, the help desk does, if you are able to work a help desk position, it really prepares you for all of the other roles, whether it's, engineering or cybersecurity or uh, maybe even programming, um, because you really get a sense of the types of things that need to be managed and where things break down. So I think that's the real opportunity here at Ian Computers for interns, is to get that frontline experience, and also to get that frontline experience in an environment where it's not all the same type of customers calling in. We do have a variety of different industry verticals, different personality types, company cultures, all calling in. So, 1 year with us might be like 5 years at a slower paced internal IT team, where the volume of calls and the type of calls are probably a lot more repetitive, um, based on just that one business's needs and business cycles. Um, so, here there's almost always somebody doing something new, which I think is one of the challenges that businesses face when they are trying to build out an IT team themselves, is that they want to have reliable support and reliable services, but oftentimes the people that they're asking, even if they come from an environment like Ian Computers, they get sit into a corporate environment, and they might just be there carrying and feeding for one system for 5 years, and then they're asked to upgrade and replace it, and they've never done that work before. That this, here at an MSP, we're constantly upgrading and replacing systems, and we have, um, that comfort with always dealing with those changes, where a corporate department, it's a very different pace. So oftentimes it's just that fear of the unknown that really holds back corporate departments, or that makes them seek out an MSP to help them with those changes.